Ed stumbled through the murky waters and caught sight of the dark. With all his strength, he pulled himself up, only to slip and fall right on his face. This day wasn't getting any better as he slammed down a piece of blue tape that wrote, "Caution." He walked off down the road, dripping wet, filthy, and raged. "Hey! Where are you going?" Eddy called out once he and Ed finally caught up to him. "You're heading back to the swamp! My bro doesn't live." The instant Eddy put his hand on Ed's shoulder, it was smacked away. "Don't you dare touch me!" Eddy stepped back, seeing the enraged look in Ed's eyes. He couldn't keep his rage suppressed any longer. He came up at Eddy with full force, grabbing him by the shirt. "A sap? Well, excuse my sincerity for thinking I lost the only two people I left in this world." His tirade wasn't going anywhere with Eddy. All he could do was stifle his laughter. "And it's surprising, because your stubborn and inane desire to shock, sandbag, and swallow is what put us here in the first place! You and your nefarious scams!" This is all wrong. His anger was taking over his mind. He had to stop, knowing that he was going to take this too far. The smile vanished on Eddy's face. He was finally able to take his mind off the morning's events until Ed had to bring it back up again. And did he really just insult his scams like his brother always did? Like you weren't picking daisies? You built the stupid thing, Eddy competed, pushing Ed to the ground. Ed couldn't let his physical weakness let him lose. He had to be strong. He got up and reiterated, "If you had paid attention to what I said and not pushed the red button." Ed emerged from his spot only to witness the start of a brawl. "Stop! I demand you to tickle each other right now!" "Stay out of it, Ed!" both boys yelled. What would Ed do? He was powerless. If he approached them, he may start fighting with them. Was his nightmare really coming true? "The evil dark side has consumed them both! Trouble, bad, pain!" Eddy smashed on top of Ed and squeezed his neck. Why was Ed here? He had barely anything to do with what was going on. Eddy was once again leading him into trouble. "I've had enough!" The next thing Eddy knew, he was staring dazed at the sky. Ed knocked him off. That was the first time he ever showed his physical strength. Eddy was finally able to think straight again. That wasn't his brother who thought he was trying to strangle. "I'm returning home," Ed announced. Ed scooted over on his knees. "But we can't go home, Double D." "I'd rather face my consequences, Ed, than wander off aimlessly with a so-called friend." Eddy looked up just in time to see Ed walking away down the road. Tears crept into Eddy's eyes as Ed began to cry. "Say, ain't it so?" Each of them knew that someday this would happen, but they didn't think about it now. "We are three no more, Eddy! Like hop, skip, and no jump, like up, but no way, like blah, blah without the other blah." Eddy blocked off Ed's voice, feeling tears drip from his eyes. He never thought Ed would walk out on them, but this time he had a good reason. It was his brother. He made him this way. He passed down scams, his sayings, everything into his head when he was only 5. By acting like his brother, he sent people away because they hated him. Everyone hated him. And now his best friend did too. The only one who was there the instant he got hurt and gave him advice that he never appreciated. This was all his. Eddy smashed his face to the ground, so angry to have Ed's annoying speech go through his head. "Fine! Go home!" Eddy screamed. bursting into the air. I don't blame you, because everything was my fault. Yeah, you heard me. A foul, wannabe loser, he continued, hitting himself over his head. He hated himself. He absolutely hated himself. Everyone in the world thought they'd be better off without him. And they were right. Eddy burst into tears. His cries echoed across the land. Ed stopped. Eddy was crying. He was crying because of him. Eddy really did care about his friends. What was he doing? Was he actually going to walk all the way back to the cul-de-sac on his own? Um, Eddy? What? Eddy was too upset to think why he heard Ed's voice. Was he trying to rub his leaving even more? Your shirt, Eddy, Ed said. Eddy turned around, revealing his tear-streaked face. My shirt? Are those self-deposits from your lamentation? The moment Eddy looked down at his shirt, Ed thumped his nose. Eddy stood, so confused as Ed approached him. Gotcha! They were quiet, staring at one another. Eddy smiled, once again having tears creep into his eyes. There was no need for words. Eddy was sorry for the prank, and Ed felt sorry for walking away. They were suddenly swooped off by their feet when Ed picked them up. He too had tears of joy. We are friends once more, guys! To Eddie's Big Bros house! Not this way, Ed said, stopping his friend from almost taking them to the direction he was about to go in. This way. Eddy threw his arm around Ed, surprising him with a big one-arm hug. You heard my pal, Ed! Ed returned the hug, and they continued on their journey. None of them noticed the sun was setting. Night was coming upon them. What will you do without me, Eddy? Ed said with a sly smile. Don't milk it, sockhead, Eddy said, unable to stand all of this sappy show of affection. The Eds all learned something in that moment. They were never going to take advantage of their friendship like that ever again. There was nobody else in the world that they could depend on. What they had was real. In what was only a short amount of time, the Eds were closer than they were before.